What's up, former party people? This is Jerry, the one who actually combs his hair on the A is for Alcoholic podcast. Now, if you're finding value in listening to the AIFA podcast every week and you want to support sharing it with others, we invite you to become a sustaining monthly or per show contributor. Go to patreon.com/AIFA. It's super easy and it only takes a quick moment. It's about as easy as buying one of those pre-cooked space chickens from the grocery store, taking it outside, giving it a big old kiss, and kicking it into traffic. Why would you do that? Anyway, you do you, and I'll do me. Again, go to patreon.com/AIFA. And with that, people, let's start the show.
A is for Alcoholic is a program about recovery. My name is John, and I'm an alcoholic.
And my name is Jerry, and I'm an alcoholic.
Join us as we go through the alphabet of alcoholism, one letter at a time.
So we were just discussing the fact that A's for Alcoholic is going to be on the VHS podcast, and if you haven't heard of this, you should go check it out. Subscribe, Download, all that business. So basically, our friend Dirk watches a lot of movies and watches a lot of horror movies in particular. But this particular podcast takes a movie and takes a person in that movie and then interviews somebody who has that profession and or lifestyle. So we were on there to talk about the Stephen King book and movie, Dr. Sleep, as alcoholics, and he's in AA and he's an alcoholic. We're not hospice workers and we don't have the shine. I don't have the shine.
I don't have the shine. But we're on the podcast representing alcoholics.
Alcoholics.
At least us two as alcoholics, not the rest of you who are alcoholics listening to this. I can't represent any of you.
No. But it was super cool, and I guess it'll be out whenever it's out. I have no idea what their timeline is.
Did he send you the hot sauce?
He sent me some hot sauce a while back.
Did he? Yeah. I got some hot sauce. They're really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be careful. Delicious. There's one. I think it was the habanero.
Heirloom tomato. Ooh, wasn't that bad. I took a little and it was hot, but it wasn't.
Maybe I took too much.
I need to take more. But yeah, you should check that out too. That he has a company called he and his wife, I believe, right? Mm-hmm. It's called Marshall's Hot Sauce.
HAUTE.
Yeah, like haute couture.
Mm-hmm.
It's good stuff. It's tasty. It's tasty. We're gonna do commercials for them.
We should. I'm open to any, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm open to any creative fiduciary relationship that we can have here at AS for Alcoholics.
We'll advertise your shit. Shoot us a couple bucks. I'll fucking be like, hell yeah. I don't know much about panty liners, but I'll tell you what.
I'll find out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, we hope that everyone's being safe out there, taking care of themselves, staying indoors. We wanted to talk today about we're gonna mash two letters together. We're gonna do the OP, which also is, what does that stand for in internet culture?
Original poster.
Original poster. Okay.
Also,
yeah.
OPP, which is other people's
property.
Property.
So we're gonna talk about optimism and pessimism and their place in life, in sobriety and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But first, I've been having some difficulty. We're all at home. We're all stuck at home. And I'm going through the internet and I'm scrolling on this and I'm checking out this. And it doesn't matter which one, whether it's Reddit or fucking TikTok or Instagram or even Facebook. Like, this Tiger King thing is everywhere. Have you watched this show?
Yeah, absolutely. I've watched Tiger King.
So I had to stop scrolling and finish this show so that I didn't want anything to be spoiled, because I felt like there were spoilers that were popping up here and there. And this thing is fucking insane, Jerry.
Right. It is insane.
And I remember 4 years ago when this guy, he was on that John Oliver clip of him running for president. I remember that going, that's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
What's up with that dude?
And
then I never thought anything about it.
Yeah.
And then it got crazier. But so the Tiger King saga is still going on.
Right.
Right? He's in jail. He's going to prison.
He's in prison, but apparently I've been seeing on the news that Carol Baskins, the other character, the other person in this documentary, I guess they reopened up the cold case in regards to her husband. They
What
just
do you
reopened
think?
it. What do
Seems
I
fucking
think? Carol
suspicious. Yeah.
Baskins, well, I mean, this is a recovery podcast, but she straight up like killed her husband and fed him to tigers. I think she did.
Jesus Christ, this is just bizarre. I just didn't realize, and like the statistic about there being like 5 to 10,000 tigers in the United States and only 4,000 in the wild.
Boom. Yeah. People are gross and weird, dude. Poor tigers.
I
You can't even
know.
let those tigers out. They're ruined. They're just broken tigers now. They just have to live like on someone's private property. Couldn't even let them out into the savannah of Africa because all the rough school of hard knocks tigers would be like, "Who are you again? What are you guys doing?" And yeah, just drop off all these tigers' Oklahoma accents,
Right? Tigers with Oklahoma accents.
right?
It was just so bizarre. And I kept watching it. And I think I texted you and I was like, I had to stop it. Like, because within the first 90 seconds, I was like, what the fuck is going on here? It was too much.
I loved
Like,
it. It was like watching Gummo. Like,
right? For real.
yeah, dude, I took that ride. I was from the minute that first twist hit, I was like, oh shit, I'm in love with you.
And then
I
it was
loved it.
twist after twist after twist.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I love like the woman with the well, if you're listening to this and you haven't watched it, please stop the podcast and go watch it and then come back. All right? So that's my spoiler alert. Because it felt like the woman who made the most sense and was the most reasonable was the woman who didn't fucking have the arm.
Right.
His arm got bit.
And
Like
you
they
know
didn't
what's
cut to it at first.
crazy
First
about
she-
that? Yeah. That person actually is a trans man and prefers to be referred to in he pronouns. And when they made the documentary, they just misgendered them the whole time. Because I was listening to another podcast and I had read it on Reddit too, and they were like, Saf
Saf.
was his name, yeah, and they were like, oh man, he's a trans man, and that's kind of a wild move that they've been referring to him as a woman the whole time. But he straight up lost his arm. And it went back to work like 9 days later. Like, let's roll, let's do this. Fuck yeah, I ain't got no arm. Let's do this. That's gangster's fuck, dude.
I mean, that's hardcore. And he was the only one who was any sort of any reasonable. He had anything reasonable to say about anything. I was just like, you know what I mean? Like he was just sitting there, and the first scene they just show this person, he's sitting there, and you don't notice anything to talk, and then the next clip they cut back, they say nothing, but the camera comes back a little bit, and then I just saw he had no arm, and I was like, what the fuck?
What
like,
the fuck? Yeah.
It was just insane. It was
so.
Yeah.
Oh, dude. And what about? We're gonna do this for a minute. This is hilarious though because the one dude with the long hair just reminded me of like Coda if he hadn't gotten sober. Like if Coda hadn't gotten sober, that would be him. He'd be working on some tiger farm in Oklahoma, and I was just like, fuck Coda. Like that's like. There's even the scene where he gets drunk, and it reminded me of Coda when I would drink with him, where he was just like, yeah, and he's just like, fucking A, man, fucking A. Like with these pictures, you ever walk with a tiger, like just get all intense and deep, and you're like, I don't know if you're opening up your heart or you're gonna fucking hit me, because there were times in Coda where I would drink with him, and he would get fucking shit canned and get real intense on me, not mean, just his energy. I was like, you're unpredictable right now, dude. Like,
that sort of that dead eye stare.
Yeah, it was intense, very intense. I loved it. The whole thing was a shit show. From like the freak show aspect of like my personality, I just had to watch the shit show. Yeah. I mean, it's mean because these people have their lives, and I tried my hardest. I do really try my hardest to empathize with people. There's only maybe very few people that I don't empathize with, just because my resentments are so large. But even this shit, like I try to empathize, but there's just so much going on that it
was beyond
difficult to not just sit back and just watch this, just be like, yo, that dude's husband, that dude had a harem of husbands, and one of them accidentally shot himself on camera. Like, what the fuck, dude?
Was it an accident?
Well, who knows, right? It's one of those things. Yeah. Was it an accident or not,
And then, like, the fact that they were both straight, or so they said. I mean,
and then during the wake at his husband's funeral, his whole His whole fucking, what do you call that when you eulogy? His whole eulogy was about how his husband would rub his balls in his face.
I know,
He said,
right?
"Yeah,
It's
great
like
big old balls," and like the mom sitting there
he called
crying,
them golden nuggets.
golden.
Oh, okay. I
Read
mean,
through Tiger King. You straight up have never read The Room. You fucking weird,
right?
whatever you are. Like,
And was
it's like
that
I don't know, man.
he had it looked like he had eyeliner on, but it looked like perfect every single time. Like, do you think that was tattooed
I think
makeup
it
or
was
something?
tattooed. I believe so. Yeah, yeah, because you can tattoo an eyeliner. I believe you can. I'm a professional tattoo artist, so I don't know about makeup because I do the other end where I like specialize in skulls and butterflies, I guess. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but I'm pretty sure you can tattoo an eyeliner. I'm like pretty certain.
Um, and you've never tattooed makeup like anything on?
I don't want to fuck that up. I've never even tattooed a face. I don't even want to fucking fuck around with that shit.
Yeah.
So you
Okay.
think Joe Exotic follows a program?
I think Joe Exotic is I you know what was really sweet was like in at the end of that of the show of the series, and they showed clips of him at the very beginning of his career as a tiger. Like he was very much into saving the tigers, and it was that weird fucking libertarian lawyer dude or the campaign manager is like, we forgot all about the tigers. This was not,
Yeah,
this is about
yeah.
saving tigers, and it's
Right.
like it's not a good program, man. Yeah, I mean, he needs that. I don't know that I'd want to hear that guy's fifth
Oh,
step though. That's
self
fucking. It's,
self will run riot. You know,
yes,
self
indeed.
will run riot, dude.
So that being said, I got it out of my system. I watched it. I'm happy I did.
Right.
But I've been going back and forth in these quiet times at home about, being optimistic and being pessimistic and being, doing my best to stay healthy. I've been eating radishes and fucking ginger, just like straight, like I boil because it's
My
good for the
God, are
immune
you like
system.
torturing yourself or
Well,
something? Just
no,
a
they're just
raw
like little
ass
snacks.
radish and a
Raw.
raw ass ginger.
Well, I boil the ginger. I peel it and boil it, so it's kind of soft.
Mm-hmm.
But it's kind of refreshing. Just these are things that are good for the immune system. And like I was telling you, I want to be responsible without erring on the side of paranoia.
Correct. Yes, we were talking about
Because
that earlier.
this shit is real, right? This is
Yeah.
not it's not a fucking hoax. As far as I can tell, it's
Yeah.
not. It's no
Nobody's
joke.
overreacting because, and I know this is a recovery podcast, but the powers that be would not want to shut down the workforce just because we're overreacting. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
the workforce runs this country, and
yeah.
this is just my opinion, but this is what I've observed as a 44-year-old male here.
Mm-hmm.
Me and my privilege. That also was, yeah, I do have a ton of privilege. Man, let's do something else.
It's
I'm not
fine.
gonna
It's
step in
fine.
all these fucking potholes.
Okay, all right, all right. Well, forget about. Let's move aside. Let's get off the
All of
six
that was
feet
joking,
over.
though. That was all satire. I really am not an asshole.
No,
Not
you're
not in
not.
that way. I'm an asshole in other ways, but not
No.
politically.
I think uh, so so this is a legit thing, and I've been going back and forth between
Hmm.
like being really anxious and depressed about money.
You're right.
And I've reached out, like I didn't reach out, but a couple people reached out to me and sent me messages, and I got one back, and they were like, "How are you doing?" And I said, "For mostly, I'm fine. Like I have everything I need. I have food, and but I just don't have any money. I'm not sure where it's going to come from in the next month. And I mean, that's nothing special. You know what I mean? That's everybody's got that shit going on.
Right.
And they were very nice, and they were like, "Well, listen, if you ever need anything," and I was like, "I appreciate that." And it was somebody who I would never think to ask money for money. Like
Right.
I don't want to ask anybody, but like that's the thing that's really been on my mind. And then so I got an opportunity to go help out at the restaurant. They've been doing to go orders since this thing started, right? And
Uh-huh.
so it's like, well, what's the plan here? Like, do I go? Do I suit all the way up? Should I put the goggles and the fucking am I hazmat suit on?
Right.
Like if I'm gonna be somewhere for 3 hours, I'm probably gonna be like several feet away from other people, but there's only gonna be a couple of us there. And so it's just like I'm totally fucking freaked out. And then other moments, like when I was watching the Tiger King, I just completely forgot about it,
Right.
or I'm working on something else. And so I have been, I was going to ask you, like, what have you been doing anything like meditation or any other sort of like practices to not freak the fuck out? I mean, I don't want to say you have more at stake, but you have a family,
Mm-hmm.
and so I don't know if that puts any pressure or conscious thought. I mean,
It
obviously it
it
does,
it
but
did it did in the beginning when
hmm
it was when when it was really unpredictable. Well, it's still unpredictable. We still don't know we know what's happening, but I also know that
hmm
we're experiencing it while it is happening. So the answers aren't certain. They tell you one thing and then they change it because they have to adapt to the way that this virus moves, right?
right.
So when it initially first happened, I had a lot of fear, and I did have a few moments of like pretty bad panic, and I had to be talked down by you at one point, and I had to be talked down by my dad at one point. My wife had to talk me down, so I had like three pretty major moments there. But at this point, what has worked for me, have not been meditating, although it appears I will have much more time to be able to learn to practice again. But still am working in my routine. I'm working my daily program, and not just a program of recovery, but my daily program of just busy work. You know what I mean? But I still find time to fuck around and stuff. But like, I still try to go to bed every night around the same time I did before. Everybody got quarantined, or between 10 and midnight. And she'll still try to wake up between 6:30 a.m. and 8. If I'm waking up and I still work, I still get up, I make breakfast, I feed the animals, I wash the dishes. Like, that's part of my routine. I do that every day, every single day. I do that, and other than that, it really is just kind of living in this moment and just kind of going, okay, how are we going to take care of this? How are we going to take care of that? The thing with money is that it's tight because I'm like two-thirds of the money that comes into our household. My wife works
hmm
in education, and she's an EA, and the school doesn't pay EAs very well. And so I usually bring in the bulk of it. So I worry about that, but I also realize that during the worst of my alcoholism, we lived on way less than what even she's bringing
Uh,
in. And I remember having this conversation with her just like 2 days ago, and I was like, Megan, we have lived way poorer than this, like way poorer, like way poorer. We just have to do what we've always done, which is just survive. We borrow from Peter to pay Paul. It's financially what we've always done. Make your minimum payments. Call them and see if you can get, do you know what I'm saying? Like, work out
hmm
payment plans, which is what we've always done, even in times of, and to us, having a time of plenty is not a time of plenty to other people, who are obviously in a financial class above me. But I
hmm
think for my emotional well being, it's not even about optimism or pessimism. The pessimism, I have a pessimistic streak. You've known me for over 20 years. I've always been, they always said I was like the world's youngest curmudgeon, which I feel like I've gotten rid of a lot of that in recovery. I feel like a lot more open minded about things. But the pessimism, there's not even pessimism anymore. It's just panic. And if I am feeling pessimistic, I know there's something wrong. We go back to our halt, our hungry, angry, lonely, tired. I
hmm
really do go back to that tool and go, okay, am I hungry? Am I angry? Or am I lonely? Or am I tired? Well, I'm obviously not lonely because I'm sitting in this house with two other people and like two animals. So, it's either hungry or angry or tired. I just got to constantly be aware of that.
Yeah, it's funny. Like, I mean, your nickname was, or your tag name was Cynic, so it
Right.
was like you
And
were
it's still
definitely,
there. Yeah.
yeah, a pessimist early
Yes.
on when I
Right.
knew you, and I think that I've been fluctuating so much between the two. And this is the first time, like, going to work today will be the first time where I've been able to take some action outside of my routine, and it kind of
Right.
freaks me out. And part of me is
Mhm.
like, I don't know, man. Like, oh, and then I'm like, oh, my fucking hand itches, and I'm like, well, that's not a symptom, John. Like, why are you freaking out? Because you know what I
Right.
mean? Like,
Right.
something feels squirrely or weird, and I'm like, shit, okay, and it's like everything's fucking fine. And the truth of the matter is, right, if I'm gonna become unwell, I'm gonna become unwell, and
Right.
I can do everything that I can. And then it's like, well, am I risking my life for an amount of money? Is there any amount of money that would be worth risking my life for?
Right.
Am I really risking my life? And so maybe again, if I'm overthinking it, and like you said, it's like we are literally being forced to live in this moment. And I've been thinking about this, like the idea of one day at a time. And it's like,
Right.
okay, so I wake up. What's going on? What are the new rules? Are there new rules today, or are they the
Right.
same rules?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the same rules. All right. So what needs to be done? Which credit card company am I going to be on hold with? Or, which bank, which institution am I going to be on hold with today for an hour and a half
Yeah, they
before?
had you on for 5 hours the other day.
So I still never heard from them. I finally hung up
Was
because
that
my phone started
PG&E?
getting hung. No, it was Citibank.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
which, and I reached out to them on Twitter too. So I sent a picture, a screenshot of it. So they had me on for 5.5 hours before my phone got hot. And then it started to kind of glitch out. And I was like, I don't really need to have something go wrong with my phone right now. It's pretty
Mm-hmm.
important. So I hung up and I reached out to them on Twitter, and some other guy was like, "Hey, ask Citibank, maybe I was complaining about my 90-minute wait, but maybe you should get to this guy first." but but that being said, I so during that time, it was this little smooth jazz loop that was on there. I did like my yoga stretches that I like to do.
Mm-hmm.
I did a bunch of other things. I cooked dinner, or I cooked breakfast. I took a shower while I was doing it. Like I
Yeah.
was just like, well, whatever. I mean, there's nothing. And that's where this like kicking into the idea of acceptance, right? And we talk about this one all the time. But
Yes.
what am I
Mm-hmm.
supposed to do except just wait? Either I can get angry and I can hang up, and then I just have to start all over again.
Right.
So I think for me, it's really just kind of like, okay, be in the moment and what feels like 100% right now, and go with that. So, it feels good. Like I got offered to go to work. I'm going to go to work. I'm going to work for a few hours. They're going to pay me a few bucks, and I'm going to come home and I'm going to, basically delouse myself, coming back in there like fucking Andy
Right.
Dufresne at the beginning of Shawshank Redemption, where they
Yeah.
fucking, put him through the thing, and that's what I'll do. I'll throw everything in the wash. I'll take a shower and wipe down the door handles, and this is just the new normal, right?
For now, yeah. Mm-hmm.
For now, and I should take every opportunity I can to make money if it doesn't seem overtly hazardous, and currently it doesn't. So, I mean, I just have to trust in the higher power that this is what I'm here to do today,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know.
So, in early recovery, nothing stayed the same. So we talked about that one day at a time, and I thought about it even in the beginning at like 10 minutes at a time. Just to kind of try to hold it together for 10 minutes at a time, because nothing remained the same. Like, and nothing does in early recovery when you're trying to learn these tools, because it's like, you could wake up and be like, all right, I'm sober today. I got my shit together. Everything's going to work out. And then 2 days later, you find out, your wife's going to leave you, or your house burns down. Life, you got to live it on life's terms. And this is what life has given us right now, is a different set of rules. It completely changed the game on us.
Mm-hmm.
This is like Metallica's Loaded album, right?
Please explain.
Because like Metallica, well, maybe the Black Album too, because that was a little more commercial. But Metallica had all these dope ass thrash records, and they were playing dope ass heavy metal, dope ass thrash, and then all of a sudden they got their hair cut, and they fucking started playing like this Loaded album, all these songs, and you're like, this shit's lame, this shit is whack, because it changed on you, and it's whack and it's lame. I that's the only way I can really work that analogy, because unlike the Metallica's Load album, like, we don't really have a choice in what's happening to us. We do to some extent. Like, you can fucking buck the rules and be like, you fucking idiots, you damn liberals, you're taking it way, you're just overblowing the situation, and FEMA wants to do some weird Alex Jones shit and go out into the world and touch everything you want. But I guarantee you're gonna get sick. You're gonna get fucking sick. So you change the rules, I guess, for yourself. I mean, but you got to live life on life's terms, because if you don't, you're going to get sick. You're going to go out there and get sick. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know.
Here's the thing, and I don't know if I said this to you in past episode, but with like the conspiracy theorists and stuff like that, it's like, it's not helpful. I think that
No.
maybe we had this conversation, but it's not helpful, and it doesn't, I would be curious to anybody out there who is a believer in these things, if believing the conspiracy theories gives you any sort of comfort or solace or anything other than the ability to wag a finger at somebody or call them stupid or sheeple,
Right.
or you're
Right.
not, you know what I mean? Like, don't trust your government. And one of the other things is that the whole basis of recovery for me was like I have to trust something. And
Right.
I had to come to trust something, and that's what led to me being able to live a good, decent, happy life.
Right.
So for someone to tell me that it's time to mistrust, and you don't trust the media, don't trust the government, don't trust the, and it's like,
Right.
it's okay to have a discerning eye. It's okay to, maybe don't
Do your
believe everything you
research.
hear,
Yeah.
do
Hmm.
your research, but
Hmm.
also this whole idea of like, don't trust, it doesn't really jibe with me anymore.
Not
It
right
doesn't.
now. Not right
No,
now.
especially not right now.
We got to stay in the cave, man. There's a storm. All those
Right.
cavemen got. Don't listen to the one caveman who ate some mushrooms on accident and is like, no,
Uh,
this storm is. This is all fake news. This storm will
mm-hmm,
pass. You know, like
mm-hmm,
just hang out in the cave. But you know what? Us as program people, which the
mm-hmm,
word program is really great if we're going to get into this. I hear it all the time is to stay in the middle of the herd. Not go out on the fringes, stay in the middle and you'll be safe, which is that safe thinking.
mm-hmm.
As a devil's advocate kind of counterpoint to that idea, that there's sense of conformity or whatever. But I'm also not a 25-year-old kid. Like, I'm not here trying to sell my well, be like, I'm not a fucking conformist. I'm not like you, dad. And I grew up and realized, shit, I'm
Mm-hmm.
just like my dad. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I look at my dad and I'm like, man, I'm a lot like you. I'm more like my mom, but I'm a lot like my old man too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. I think a lot of it comes from fear. A lot of it is trying to control something, control the narrative. They're controlling something. Finally have control over something in a life that it keeps throwing shit at your face. You
Mm-hmm.
know, it's life on life's terms.
Yeah.
Sometimes you gotta get the shit thrown in your face and be like, oh well, maybe tomorrow I won't get shit thrown in my face.
Well, and
That sounds
sometimes
so negative, but
no,
yeah,
well, it's what you don't get to know. We don't get to know,
you're right.
right? So
Right.
I don't have to wake up to my wife leaving me or for my house burning down. I can just wake up to feeling bad or having a
Right.
headache
Right.
and like
Right.
feeling sorry for myself. And it's like, okay, how do I navigate self-pity? Well, um, the routine, like you said, make my bed, write in my journal, do my little exercises. Like I
Right.
felt kind of sore in my back and like something in my ankle, and I was like, I'm not going to run today. I'm not going to get up early and run. I'll do my few stretches, and I'll do my sit-ups. I've been doing this thing with Rashida, and I are both doing she calls it 25 alive.
Yeah, I
So
saw
we
it on
just do
the whiteboard behind you there.
oh yeah, that's what that is. It's just 25 sit-ups. And then whatever else. She's got a little routine she does. And like the first couple 2-3 days I did 25 sit-ups and I was like, "Damn, my stomach hurts. Like it pained me." And now, right? Like I'm just saying, like
No, I
but
know.
now
Yeah.
it's fine. So maybe next month we'll do the nifty 50 or whatever. But
Maybe. Yeah.
but I think that that's part of like the self-pity and then because it's easy for me to wander around the house here in self-pity and then start thinking about
Right.
things to panic about. And it's like, well, just
Well,
slow down.
that's alcoholic thinking too, though. Do you know what I'm
Uh,
saying?
uh,
Like you want to control the thing around you, and it's gotten out of your control. So now you got to freak out. You have to panic about it because everything
mm,
you're reacting instead of processing.
mhm.
I've been there. I do it all the time. To react instead of just process it.
Mhm.
Yeah, and that's not helpful.
No,
It
it's
makes it
not.
worse.
And it's there's like the idea of pessimism is it's this so this is a choice of how we want to feel. This is an outlook that we have on the world, right? Either we are
Mhm.
optimistic or we are pessimistic.
Right.
This is not a like, even if there's no action being taken, it's just looking outside and going, it's too bright out there, or oh wow, it's really beautiful and sunny out.
Uh-huh.
Now, there are real life shit that's going on that can cause us pain and suffering out there if we don't make the right choices and that kind of thing. But it's just an outlook, and it's a choice that we can have to have this outlook. So even in the face of bad things that are happening right in front of us, we can be optimistic about how the rest of our day will go, and therefore what the next day will bring, but not even thinking about the next day, right? We're just like one day at a time.
Right.
We're very much being forced into that, momentary living. But I just feel like I feel so much better when I am optimistic. I feel so much better when I am acceptance. I feel so much better when I don't allow the alcoholic thinking to take over. I give it a second and I go, okay, wait a sec. I recognize that now. That's just me freaking out because I want to control something and I have no control.
Yeah.
Then, I go like, well, control is not really a thing that you actually have over very few things in your life. So remember that. It's a beautiful day and everything's taken care of.
I try not to look at it as a binary where you
Okay.
only have like optimism and pessimism. To me, I've always looked at it like these kind of a grayscale, and optimism's one extreme side and pessimism's the other, and they kind of bleed into each other for me personally. I like to practice what I call optimistic pessimism.
Okay.
Where I prepare for the worst and hope for the best. Do you know what I'm saying? And I think maybe that's just being pragmatic, but I've always thought our reactions can be one that are constructive or one are destructive. You know what I mean? In my opinion. So I look at it like, is my reaction to this going to be, yeah, am I going to build something out of this, or am I going to break everything down?
Mm-hmm.
But I absolutely agree with you that it is always best to try to take the light side of the thing when you're presented with some new situation. I mean, that's gonna, I feel like, be more constructive than destructive. The optimistic pessimism is like that thing where, I don't know, man. It's just like I'm looking at my wife and I'm like, we've been poorer than this. Like,
Yeah.
I've been through some shit. So as I get older, I'm trying to use my experience with my bottom and my alcoholism and my active alcoholism as kind of this armor where I'm like, I've been through worse shit and I was drunk the whole fucking time. You know what I mean? So now I got an advantage. Like we talked about waking up with the deficit, and now we're waking up. We're like ahead of the game. I'm like, hey, I don't got to be drunk through this whole thing. I don't got to be hungover through this whole fucking thing. I don't got to worry about getting a fifth of whiskey tomorrow. I don't got to worry about that anymore.
Could you imagine? And I think I heard a story about some state that was going to close the liquor stores.
They did. It was like New Hampshire or somewhere. Yeah.
Ohio or something. I don't know.
What do you do then? What do you do then?
Jesus. Fucking panic and hoard? I don't know.
What I recommend, following us on Spotify. That's what you should do. And
yes, exactly.
Listen to us. Don't listen to us. Just listen to us. Like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just listen.
Go to a Zoom meeting.
What
do you think about that?
Have you done any yet?
I haven't done one yet.
You've done a couple. I've done 3 of them and I've enjoyed them so far. I'll probably end up doing one tomorrow too. Yes, because I don't have to drive anywhere. I don't have to I don't have to put pants on. I don't even have to put on a clean shirt and act like I'm a functioning human being, Although I shower every day. That's part of my routine as well.
Yeah, me too.
I get dressed and I shower. I comb my hair like if I were going out, because I'm like, I'm not sick, so why the fuck should I feel like I'm sick?
Excuse me. So I think about the movie The Great Escape. Have you ever seen this movie? Steve
McQueen, where
Charles
the deep tunnel. Yes, this is a great movie.
It's a great movie. So it's
Ernest
World War II.
Borgnine? Sorry.
He's probably in there. He was in
He's
everything.
everywhere, dude. Yeah.
He was in Good Burger. Or wait, no, that was
no, that was Fish.
That was Abe Vigoda.
Abe Vigoda, yeah.
different podcast altogether. So in The Great Escape, I don't remember the guy's name. It might have been Donald Pleasance, who played the detective or the psychologist in Halloween movies.
They remember Donald Pleasance. Yeah.
But maybe it wasn't him, but it was an English captain in the English army, and so they're prisoners of war in a Nazi war camp, and in World War II, and the Englishman is in there, and I think he's like shaving in the mirror, and I think one of the American guys or maybe the Australian guys like, "What are you doing? What are you getting shaved for?" And he basically was saying, well, what? I'm an Englishman. I need to look proper all the time. It doesn't matter what the situation is.
Right.
I'm here to look good and feel good. And I don't remember his exact words, but excuse me, I think that's really important.
Right.
I just went and I trimmed up my beard. I shaved everything up because it was kind of getting scraggly. I can't really give myself a haircut. I mean, I could, but I'm not.
A wild ass haircut though, dude. Yeah.
To be some Tiger King
Just
shit.
rolling up with a Tiger King mullet, dude. I'd be like, bold fucking move, dude. I'd support it. I would support it.
So I think that these things are really important for my self-worth, my self-image, even if I'm just rolling around the house. I change. Yeah, I dress too. I put clothes on. Yeah, I mean, I'm not right now because we're recording. I'm going to take a shower and get ready after this. But but that's another thing that is just really helpful to having a better outlook on everything that I can control, which is shaving my face and washing my ass.
Yeah. You know? And these things are part of the routine. Like if you're out there listening and you're like, man, I don't want to fucking work out and shower. I'm in the middle of a quarantine. Like, don't work out and shower then. Do your routine. If your routine is going out on your back porch early in the morning with a cigarette and a cup of coffee and just being like, man, I'm fucking alive. Do that. Do whatever the routine is. If your routine is playing fucking Grand Theft Auto Online and being a mean troll, then be a mean troll, I guess. I don't know. If that's what keeps you through the day, just don't troll me, God damn it.
Right. Yeah, I like your idea about being an optimistic pessimist. And you also use the theory or the metaphor of being in the cave and weathering the storm. Right. And I feel like it doesn't have to be, you don't have to either be hunkered down in the cave entirely and or running around in the storm going, this is how I feel alive. Like you can be kind of hunkered down in the cave, but also maybe putting a bucket out to catch some rainwater for when the, you know what I mean?
For the drought that's going to come after the storm.
Comes after the storm. So I think there's varying degrees. And I like that as well, that you can be. There's another saying I like from one of my favorite liberal political podcasts, Pod Save America. And there's a guy on there on Thursdays, and his name is Dan Pfeiffer. He worked for Obama, and he's written a couple books, and he's a really smart dude. But he says things like, and one of the things he says is, worry about everything, panic about nothing. So basically that panic is not a helpful feeling. It's not a helpful emotion. It's not a helpful action. I don't know if it's an emotion or not, but it's not helpful to panic because the actions that are born of panic rarely help us in the long run.
It's all fight or flight, man. That's like that weird part of our monkey brain. It's like it's still our throwback. It's all instinct. The panic, you know this, right? The biological reason for panic is to get away from a predator so they don't fucking eat your ass. Your heart rate goes up. You have this need to escape, you know? I know this is the truth because I read it on the internet. But, you know, it can be useful, but in day-to-day life, like you and I walking around who do not have major conflicts in our life, it has no use. It's like your appendix. Like, I don't need it. I don't have an appendix anymore.
Well, I was going to say.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's funny when you talk about Pod Save America, in my mind, I was like, well, there goes half of our listeners. They're like, man, I'm not listening to these political cucks.
I don't, you know, and I don't really.
I'm just fucking with you, but.
Well, I'm always skeptical to bring this kind of stuff up because I try to be as.
Well, I don't want to polarize recovery, but I did listen to Pod Save for a little while, and I don't disagree with anything they say necessarily, but no, I really feel like recovery in of itself should not be politically polarized, and a lot of things in our culture are politically polarized, but due to the fact that this is also a personality-driven podcast, because these are our perspectives on our recovery, aspects of our political kind of philosophy are going to blow through regardless. It's just going to bleed through. So I was just more in line of laughing at it.
Like, oh man,
there's like that one dude. Yeah, it's like Joe Exotic's uncle in Oklahoma. It's like, fuck these guys, you know. But that's okay.
I would say that anybody who's not interested in listening to me, but is still interested in recovery, there's no shortage of people that are there to help you. And I would only, you know what I mean? I would only wish that you find somebody who who you feel can help you more than I can, you know?
Right.
And I mean, I honestly, I also think that I wouldn't want to polarize it or politicize recovery
Right.
either. You know, I was walking down the street. This is a few years back, and um, this guy had a Trump shirt on, and you know, you don't need to know too much about me to know that I'm not a huge fan of President Trump, to put
Right.
it lightly. But I was talking to my girlfriend and about it, and we were discussing it, and my thought was like, okay, here's somebody who I am instantly feeling aggravated and against
Yeah.
because of a t-shirt,
Huh.
right?
Right.
That's my
Exactly.
feeling. My feeling is like, my initial feeling as I'm walking by is fuck that guy.
Right.
But I don't know him. And if I met him in a room, you know, in a recovery room, in a meeting, and he said, "Hey man, I got a question about something you said." I don't think that I would hesitate to answer his question or to help him,
Right.
you know? Like, when I was down at Joshua Tree and I went to a meeting, and there were some dudes there, like they were in full fucking regalia of things that I did not agree with, you
Hmm.
know, politically. And I think that if somebody had asked me for some help, I don't think that I would have hesitated to been like, "Hey, yeah, let's talk about this." You know, I mean, I
Right.
don't know how you feel. I wouldn't have gotten into
Well,
an
no, I
argument with him.
had a no, it's funny you bring it up because we were at Costco before all this shit went down. We were at Costco like 2 months ago, 3 months ago, and this old guy sat down next to me, guy in his 60s with his like wife, and they had their what I assume was their granddaughter, a little girl, and they were all eating hot dogs. We were all sitting at the because you know Costco's all benches, picnic tables, but he had the big old fucking MAGA hat on and shit. And I was like, fuck you, dick, like in my brain. But then, you know, I sat there with my daughter and Megan just kind of eating and listening to him have this back and forth with his granddaughter, and it humanized it for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard for us to humanize other people. And
Yeah.
I saw that he was like really loving to this little kid, you know, and like really cool with his wife and shit. And I was just like, okay, so but still fuck you, but I'm glad you're a person. But then there were meetings I had, there have been times where I have been in rooms where there were people who were very politically right as opposed to me, and were open about, not open about, a little open about it in the meeting, enough that you're
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, I see your shit, and then you walk by their car and they're like fake news network, you know, like bumper sticker and then fucking little Trump MAGA or whatever. But those people, I still listen to them, and they still have told me things and said things that I really,
Mm-hmm.
really use. I use it because at the end of the day, we're all fucking alcoholics. Of course, you're going to be kind of a wild right wing Trump dude if you're an alcoholic. Like your brain doesn't work right, just like my brain doesn't work right, and we all do dumb shit. Do you know what I'm saying? Like I've done a bunch
Yeah.
of dumb shit. I'm covered in tattoos I've done on myself, drunk as shit. You know,
Right.
like so we
Right.
all kind of make. That's also that's now me being polarizing.
I
Where I'm
know.
like,
I
don't be
know.
polarizing, John. Like, but I really wasn't chastising you. It was more of a thought, you know.
I think,
Um,
yeah, no, I get it. It's a thought we all have. I don't think that this is anything
it's part of our damn life. It's just part.
all
You
of our
cannot
lives.
avoid it. You can't even go to a room and avoid it. It's gonna come up somewhere.
I feel like in some ways too, you know, I was in one and this I mean, fucking. I think the meetings are coming out in the open with all this Zoom stuff, and it's probably not going to be nearly as anonymous as it once was.
Right.
But
Just don't be
I had
blasting nobody's names and shit.
no. But I was sitting with somebody that I knew, appreciated, liked, and respected in one of these rooms, and this other guy on the other side was going off about some serious political stuff. Like it just like his share went off the rails.
Right.
Okay. And so
Right.
the guy who was sitting next to me was like, you know, my name's Bill, or something like, you know, he's like, he was just like, Bill, alcoholic. Thank you, Frank, and like cut him off, and then just
Right.
went into something that was more toward the topic. And it was a
Right.
really, it was curt, but it was polite, and it just moved the topic, you know, the conversation along. And I feel like sometimes in the meetings we have a lot of difference in opinions outside, but I feel like it's like the movie Highlander, where if we meet in a church, we won't try to cut each
It's like
other's heads
neutral
off.
ground. That's it. That should be a fucking alcoholism is just like Skylander. Except there's way more than one. But yeah, no, the church is neutral ground. Yeah, that's hilarious. Yeah.
Right? And so
the church
like
basement is neutral ground. I mean, there have been fights in rooms. I have never seen them, but I mean, you get enough of us in a place together, we're gonna fucking while out eventually.
Maybe that's why the meetings are only an hour, dude, because you can't keep that many people in there.
You ever go to a business meeting? Jesus.
No, I haven't.
A bunch. Wow.
Well,
anyway, this. I don't know if we're fucking pulling the curtain back here.
I think we're probably pulling the 11th step or 11th tradition curtain.
Yeah, we're living in a time of a pandemic. All rules are off, dude.
I'm telling you. But it's just I really feel that way, and I feel like that would be that if I'm to live by this program that has saved my life, then I would have to do those. That would come natural. That would be my instinct, would be to help somebody who needs help.
Yeah.
Regardless of what color their baseball cap was, right? And so
absolutely. I would help you. Actually, more so now, I'm more open to help people than I ever was during my drinking. I would even help the baseball cap guy if, like, he were on the side of the road. You know what I'm saying? Like, and needed something from me outside of the rooms. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Now, I don't want to own up to too much shit. I don't know how to change a tire or anything. But you know what I'm saying? Like, if your leg was broken off, I got you, dog. Like, I got you. I'll call 911. We'll make sure to send you to the hospital that isn't full of COVID-19 people. Right. That's what I've been thinking about too during this pandemic, is being more careful. Like chewing my food carefully. Like when I'm cutting vegetables, like watching because I don't want to go to the hospital. That's
for anything.
It's been a constant thought in my mind where like I would do shit that wouldn't even really be considered risky. I'm going to stand on there and change this light bulb. And now I'm like, oh, I need to get the stepladder. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I really am considering these things. I almost worry that I jinx myself saying it out loud on a podcast, but I just need to stay out of the hospital right now, you know?
Well, yeah.
We're both really healthy guys, so we should be. Who knows?
Well, here's the thing. I'm not going to stop being healthy, and I'm going to continue to, work on it, because I think we're all getting a crash course in personal health and what
Absolutely. And what I had said earlier about like not having routines and stuff, maybe now's the time to do that routine. Maybe now's the time to do like 5 burpees every day. That's not a lot. Maybe do 3 burpees every day and then work your way up to 5. Do you know what I'm saying? Like my kid the other day was on her iPad and I was like, she's like, will you get me this? And I'm like, no, not unless you do 10 jumping jacks with me. And she's like, are you serious? I'm like, yeah, dude. Take your headphones off and do 10 jumping jacks. I mean, it's not that hard. It'll take you 2 seconds. And then she like begrudgingly started doing it. And then my wife hopped up and then all 3 of us were doing jumping jacks in the living room, like fucking Swiss Family Robinson or something. Do you know what I mean? And I looked around. I'm like, you fucking dorks. Like,
right.
But I love them for it. And so I introduced that new thing to her, and she's probably not going to do it again. She'll just get up and get her own shit. But
right?
It's just
she doesn't have to ask
like
you anymore.
Forging a new pathway, like a new neural pathway during this period of time where you got nothing but time. I mean, we can meme and joke about like, jacking off and eating rice and beans all day, but I don't know. I just feel like maybe there's other things that I could be accomplishing right now,
Sure.
Maybe not too. I don't. Who knows?
Here's one thing that I've realized that I'm going to have the next month, with plenty of time is, I've been working on this book that we've been putting together, the A is for Alcoholic book. And I don't know if I haven't talked about it in a while because I've been kind of holding on to the files. And every time I reach out and talk to somebody, or I had a meeting with a guy who was like, well, I can put together like a press kit. You give me $1,000 and all this stuff. And I was like, I don't have $1,000 for like to have you put together this thing. And I was like, well, you know what do I have at my disposal? What have I always had? But I can always turn this thing into an ebook and sell it online, right? So now if that's the other thing is like, I have no more excuse to say I don't have enough time.
You got nothing but, baby. Yeah.
So this is what I've been thinking about, because I'm like, well, this book is too good and it needs to be in print. And I've got this image in my head about hardcover and glossy picture, all the artwork you did and all this shit. And I was like, okay, that's great, John, but that's not available to you right now. So what is available to you? How can you produce this thing in a way that, that you can do. And so that's what I can do. And that's one thing that I realized this couple nights ago. I was like, fuck it. That's what I need to do, and learn Portuguese so I can sing that song. But
what song?
it's called Agua de Marco.
Don't know.
Dun 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 dun. I don't know.
It's
Portuguese,
like a modern song, or is it?
No,
like
it's like from
song?
the '60s.
I'm gonna look it up now.
But yeah, it's.
But no, that's the thing. It's so funny.
It's a duet. Go ahead.
Oh, so your girls sing one half and you'll sing the other half. Y'all are adorable with your. I still think you made that one video and you just send everybody that video on their birthday.
Yeah, that had the fake
like Danny Clay, like Danny got it, Danny Clay got it too. Happy birthday, you. Look at you.
You.
Hey you. Coda gets it. Hey you, happy birthday, you. Look at you.
But yeah, man, I'm gonna put the book out and I'm gonna do it myself.
I think you should. I mean, my wife just has been, before I got on this podcast with you, my wife has been on Teespring trying to make a t-shirt company for me. It's live. There's one t-shirt available right now for a sale that I have to start advertising on my Instagram now.
What's how do we get it?
You got to follow the link that I haven't put on my page.
Oh, okay.
She just made it live like right now before we started the podcast.
Okay.
But follow me at Jerry Wagner Jr. on Instagram, and there should be a link in my bio by the time you hear this podcast, and there should be more than one t-shirt available. Have you heard of Teespring? I'll explain it to you.
Yeah.
It's a pretty interesting thing. Someone else had recommended it to me, and I have no interest in the business aspect of making my art. I've said this before. Once I start putting money into my art, it gets gross, and I don't want to be part of it. So Megan's like, just make a couple shirts. People always ask you for shirts. So I'm like, fine, you do it. She's like, I will do it. And now she's been doing it. So
do you think there's a certain amount of money that the grossness would go away?
That's a fairly large amount. Yeah, it's fairly large. It's enough of amount that I can hire someone else to deal with all that. Yeah.
Right. Got it. That you can just do the art. Yeah.
She was pricing shirts last night, and I'm like, oh, that shit's too expensive. And I'm like, you know what? Just do what you got to do. I don't want just take my art. I'll help you design the shirts, but it's all that other shit comes up, I'm walking out of this room because I don't want to fight with you and I don't want to think about it.
Yeah.
It's just, but that's just me. It just sullies the creative process, takes all the spontaneity out of it, and becomes more of a thing I'm trying to sell instead of a thing I'm trying to express,
And then that sucks the actual quality of the art out.
Word. But so. That's on a whole other thing. Add Jerry Wagner Jr. on Instagram. Follow me. I've been doing my quarantine stories. You guys might like those. I don't know. I got no shirt on.
I think the quarantine stories are great, man. I know that was the other thing.
You're like, why haven't you saved them? I'm like, I don't fucking know how to do that. And I erased like the first 8 before the 24 hours are up, so that they just disappear. You can't retrieve them.
They're in your archives.
No, they're not, because I erased them before the 24 hours were up. You have to let it run for a full 24 hours without erasing it, and then it'll stay in your archive. If you erase it for the full 20, it has to like naturally, organically just go away. Because I went looking for like the first, oh man, I don't know. At this point, I'm on day 15 is today.
Yeah, 15 or 16. 15,
I've done 15 of those little 1-minute movies. I've been doing some weird research on that shit. And I don't even want to. Yeah.
On what research?
On these things to try to make a different one every day. Like after a while, I'm like, well, what do I do now? But yeah.
When are you gonna do the mukbang?
Mukbang's gonna ASMR mukbang. That's on day 21, baby.
Stay tuned to buy a t-shirt. But yeah, man, I feel like too, like us doing this is really helpful, is optimistic. I get to hear your perspective, and that, you're like, oh yeah, things are really good. Things are not that bad. I'm like, oh, okay. So they're not that bad in other places. And I can go about my life to a certain extent, even though I'm, following all of the rules of social distancing and fucking cleaning everything. And I woke up this morning and I had a great realization. You want to talk about optimism? So I have the large rolls of toilet paper.
Yeah.
They're pretty big, but I only had 5, and now I'm down to like the 4, which I counted it, and I can do about 3 days on a roll of toilet paper by myself, maybe
Not
3 and a
bad.
half.
Not bad.
Right? So I've been really being mindful with my toilet paper usage.
You've been doing a lot of leafy greens.
But I woke up this morning and my closet was a little bit open, and that's fine. I left it open. It's not like somebody else came in and opened it,
Right.
you know? But I saw that there was my my Camelback backpack, my hiking backpack was in there, and that I took to Joshua Tree when we were out in the desert.
Right.
And I realized that there's a whole roll of toilet paper in the bottom of that bag. So,
Yeah.
I mean, if that is not a gift, if my higher power has not said, John, I am preparing and taking care of you, then what
else is?
What else is it?
Take that roll, just wipe your whole bathroom counter down with it. Just waste it. Don't even use it on your butt. Just wipe down the house with it. I got a little leafy green on my shirt, and just wipe it out with some toilet paper, and then just throw it in the room. No, we're set. We didn't go crazy, but I went to Costco like a while ago, and I still have like 6 big Costco rolls.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. We're rich. We are rich. We are overflowing with TP. Who would have thought that'd become a meme too? Like, people freaked out, and they're like, it's so peculiar, but it's also the same thing where people buy a bunch and try to sell it to you for $20. It's gross, but people are gross. Don't let that fuck you up. That's what I keep trying to tell myself. My wife likes to watch the news at night, and it fucks me up. It really fucks me up. I remember the other night I looked at her, I'm like, what's the fucking point? What are we even fucking trying to fight this shit for then? Let's just all get it and fucking die. Like, I literally looked at her and said that, and she's like, really? And I'm like, no, I'm just very tired, and I need to shut the fuck up.
Right? That's the truth.
Yeah, because I got a 10-year-old kid sitting right behind me on her iPad, but she hears all my shit. She's got her headphones on, but she knows the deal. And then I realized, man, I'm saying shit in front of my kid. She not heard it. She probably most likely did. But yeah, I was just tired. But it'll fuck you up, and you just got to not let it. You just got to understand that it's going to be hard, but it's just how we do things now. Just changed. Life changed. And the day we get to finally do shit the way we used to do it, it's not going to be exactly the same. It'll be a little different. But we'll be stoked, though, because we finally get to do this shit. So I'm looking forward to that. That's what I got. It's just like spring in Oregon. All of a sudden you realize that women have shoulders.
It's a good thing to look forward to, too. And, I mean, you're right. The gratitude, hopefully will be through the roof. And it'll be a good...
Mine will be. We'll just skip podcasting for 2 weeks.
Yeah, maybe.
Because I'll just be out in the field, just rubbing fucking daisies all over my face, being like, it's time. That's right in the springtime. No, I'm still podcasts. Those podcasts will be great. These are great. I feel like when I look at optimism versus pessimism, or some people would say, like, I'm just being realistic. Right.
Like I can still be realistic and still be optimistic about my daily life. So that's what I'm going to do today. I'm like so fucking glad that we got to sit and talk.
Too.
And there's a lot of relief in this, you know. I mean, I say this directly to you, but there's a lot of relief, and it's like, okay, now I can go to work and I can help some people, you know, get some delicious food out and make a few bucks and still come home and be safe about the whole thing.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, absolutely, John.
Cool.
Go feed them marinaras to the motherfuckers out there in Napa. Yeah.
Nice margarita pizza,
nice motherfucking margarita.
You know, so for anyone out there, what do I say? I say watch Tiger King if you haven't already.
It's fucking weird,
dude. It's weird. I could not take my eyes off of it. It was amazing. It was amazing.
I've been doing during this quarantine. I have been doing a lot of the original Twilight Zone from the 60s. I finished Tiger King. We just watched the second Jumanji movie yesterday. It was cute. The kid loved it. She fucking had a blast. So I was just stoked that she was having a good time. And YouTube videos. Playing a lot of Division 2 still. Doing some video games.
Yeah, I'm drawn.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing the Red Dead Redemption 2, which I'm enjoying a lot more than I thought I would.
Take it for the story. Just take it in, John.
It's beautiful. I mean, it's gorgeous.
It gets hairy. It's not even with the gunfights and shit. Like, the actual story, at one point you're like, wow.
Thanks again for listening. Our music, as always, is by Neglect. You can find more of his stuff at neglect.bandcamp.com.
And you can find us on all social media platforms that matter: Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And you can reach us at aisforalcoholic@gmail.com.
Talk to you later.
Yeah.